Hello, I'm State Representative Norma Smith, representing the 10th Legislative District. I'm glad you're joining me today at the Capitol. Thank you for trusting me to represent you and your family in Olympia. I'm honored to work with you on the issues that are so important to our communities. We're quickly approaching the halfway point in the 105-day legislative session. So far, about 3,000 bills have been introduced. But with the deadline for bills to move forward approaching, many bills will not make it past the next few weeks. I've introduced only 3 bills, important bills this session. In my previous video update, I told you about a bill that I introduced to reduce the regulatory burden on our Washington business owners and farmers. Today, I'm going to tell you about 2 other bills that have significant meaning to our community. You know, in 2007, a woman in our community was killed by a repeat drunk driver. Karen was a loving wife and a loving mother, and yet was another innocent life lost to a drunk driver. The particular driver that hit her was measured at 3 times the legal limit and had already had 2 previous DUI offenses. These tragic events are senseless and preventable, and our inadequate laws are sending the wrong message to the people in Washington. The punishment must fit the crime to show that the people in our district and across the state that we're not going to tolerate drinking and driving. That's why I've introduced these bills, both of which have received bipartisan support from my colleagues. House Bill 2027 would simply change the law to say that if an individual has 2 or more prior DUI convictions within a 7-year period, the third would be a Class C felony. Currently, a DUI felony conviction only happens if the offender has 4 DUIs in the span of 10 years. DUI continues to be one of the greatest and most persistent threats in our country, and the most common crime committed in Washington state. When an individual gets in their car over the legal limit, they endanger not only their own lives, but the lives of every driver on the road. This cannot, should not, and will not be tolerated. My second DUI measure, House Bill 2028, would modify vehicular homicide and vehicular assault provisions. This bill would add an additional 4 years to the standard sentence range for vehicular homicide committed while under the influence. Currently, law only adds an additional 2 years to the standard sentencing range for ending someone's life, and as a result of driving under the influence. DUI-related crashes cost our society billions of dollars annually, and that's nothing compared to the grief so many families have suffered because of an individual's choice to drink and drive. You know, it's one thing to talk about the adequacy or inadequacy of our laws, but it's an entirely different perspective to see the real-life consequences resulting from these tragic choices. Public safety is at the heart of all we do as legislators, and it's about time we start taking this issue seriously and get drivers off the road. Many of you have contacted me with concerns about the ferry system and the direction Washington State Ferries is heading with their proposed future plans. As one of the very few regular ferry commuters in the legislature, and someone who has had depended and continues to depend on the Mukilteo-Clinton route for many years, I assure you I fully understand the importance of offering adequate and dependable ferry service to Whidbey Island. I will continue to offer my input, to work with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, and take the input I'm receiving from my constituents on the ferry situation here in Olympia, in meetings where we're making these decisions, because Olympia needs to hear from our ferry communities to ensure that those decisions are the best for the future of our valuable, essential marine highways. And you know, I want to commit to you my continued hard work on behalf of our families, farmers, business owners, and communities as we address the difficult and growing budget deficit in our state. I hope you know I always welcome your thoughts and comments. Hearing from you helps me to be a more effective representative for the 10th District. My Olympia office is always available to assist you with questions and concerns. We can also help you navigate state agencies. And I always enjoy meeting with your family and other groups to hear solutions on the issues that impact our quality of life in the district. My contact information will be listed at the end of this brief program. It's really a pleasure to serve you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.